So in our last video, we looked at completing this frequency table and circle graph, and we constructed this circle graph. I'm going to do a little bit more with this graph. So we know that in the survey that we did, we had 150 students or kids who responded. What if we had what if we went ahead and interviewed 500 kids? Assuming that that's the same kind of kids that were first interviewed in the 150 that were done there, maybe grade 9s or kids in the school. Could you make some predictions of how many kids out of 500 would pick various things? In this particular instance, I'm interested in the subs. So if we know that the subs was 12% of the original group, but what I'm interested in is predicting how many kids might pick subs if the trend continued of 500 kids. So again, this is a translation from English into math. If we're going to go translate 12% into a usable number, a math number, we're going to change it to 0.12 of means times 500. And we would have, again, we can check this in our calculator. 0.12 times 500, and we get 60 kids. So we would confidently say that we would predict that 60 students would pick subs. Again, a way to practice some of the percentages. What if I just gave you this graph and I didn't give you the frequency table? And we didn't know what angle the pizza section was. So we've got this section right here, and because I didn't give you pretending I didn't give you the frequency table, I'm curious what angle that is. Again, it's a simple percent question. I know that the percent of the pie that is the pizza is 25.3%. If I want to know how much of the entire circle this is making up, again, I'm finding it of the circle, 360 degrees. Again, we'll translate this into math by converting the percent into a decimal, so 0.253 of means times 360. Check on our calculator, 0.253 times 360, and it's about 91 degrees. Now, we actually knew this. If I go back to my frequency table, we can see that we knew it was 91 degrees. But again, if I just gave you this graph and asked you to predict some numbers about the kids or the angles, you again would be practicing percents, which is really the whole point of today. So I'm going to give you another frequency table. I'm going to ask the supply teacher again to pause the video here, not just so that you can copy this table down, but so that you can try it on your own. So it'll probably take 10 or 15 minutes. We'll pause the video here, and I want you to try and calculate the percentage for each one. This is a different survey asking about their favorite vehicle, what the percentage of the degrees that would be. And again, if we interviewed 500, how many would you predict would pick the sport utility? So we'll push pause here, give you some time, and then you can play it in a second, and I'll show you the answers. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to do this. You could compare with a friend to see how you did. I'll quickly show you the answers and where they came from, and then I'll give you some work to practice. So in this case, we've got 633, 789, 525, 738, 315. If I add that up, I get a total of 3,000 people who were surveyed. So I'll use that for each of my percentages. This would be 633 divided by 3,000 times 100 gets us 21.1%. You'll see that I've asked for 1 decimal place here. This writing that I just had, I don't expect you to do that in your frequency table. I'm just doing it so that you can see where the number comes from. If you want to just do that off on your calculator or off to the side, that's fine. Okay, so it's not expected that that calculation is shown right there. As a result, I'm just going to show you the answers to the other ones. This one ends up being 26.3 degrees, 17.5 degrees, 24.6 degrees, and 10.5 degrees for a total of 100%. So I'm sure there was some cheers going on in the class as I revealed those answers, and hopefully you got the same ones. Again, now when we move on to what percentage this would look like in a circle, we're going to convert this to the decimal, 0.211 times 360. And here's where we don't need to go into, we'll round to just normal, 76 degrees. Again, this part I'm just showing so that you have on the video to see how to get it. It's not expected that you show me that part on your work. So I've done the math for the other ones. We get 95 degrees for this, 63 degrees for this, 89 degrees for this, and 38 degrees for the final one. I'll do my check and I'm going to add this up. And if I add it up, let's clear this, 76 plus 95 plus 63 plus 89 plus 38, 361 degrees. Should be 360 degrees. Well, you could have a discussion with your elbow partner about why you think this is 361, and maybe this conversation's already come up. But if you look back at the decimals, you probably rounded up most of these numbers. And when you round up, you're just getting a little bit more percent or a little bit more degrees in each one. And sometimes that adds up, and you actually end up having more percentages than what is in the circle. So getting 361 degrees is not necessarily mean you made a mistake. You could go off and make sure that you did this, but chances are that you rounded up on a number of these, and it just has resulted in you getting 1 extra degrees. Similarly, you could round down on maybe all 5 of them and end up with 359 degrees, but still have done your math correct. The second part of this then asks, what if we interviewed 5,000 people? How many would you predict would pick a sports utility? So the sports utility is right here. It's 24.6% of, this time, 5,000. Translate that into math. Of means times. .246 times 5,000. And we would predict that of the 5,000, 230 people would pick the sports utility. So you've seen a couple of examples, you've tried some and been able to check. And so what I've left with you is a worksheet that has similar questions to this. It also has a bar graph on it. I didn't think I needed to review the bar graph. I think you'll be able to just read the bar graph and get the information off of it. But I'll let you go off and work for the rest of the period on completing that worksheet. Good luck.